Hello, good evening and welcome to Business here on Joy News Prime with me, Beverly Broom. A look at our stories now. The country manager for Air France and KLM, Ms. Van Ojik, is pushing for government to reduce airport charges to aid tourism and passenger travels. His call comes at a time when passenger arrivals have crossed pre-pandemic levels. But speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Ojik says the country could get more if these charges are reviewed.
When you say impact, it's positively impact. We are definitely back at full strength. We see passengers numbers that are very, very strong, not just out of Ghana, but as a worldwide Air France KLM group. You can all look up our traffic numbers online on our website. That's not a secret when I tell you that we have really bounced back and are back at or close to 2019 pre-pandemic levels. And Ghana is no exception in that. When I say that, it means that Ghana is doing equally well as compared to the peers across the world. Again, as in terms of network or let's say capacity planning, it's really a bit of a complex equation where you can't just simply say, okay, we're going to add an extra flight because Ghanaians want to travel. But rest assured, of course, our teams at head office are looking at that at a daily basis and seeing where they can best use our aircraft to serve people and to create business.
I remember in the past we had some airlines complain about the cost of operating out of Kotoka International Airport. Has the situation improved, and how has the uptick in passenger numbers also impacted on that, or is still a major challenge for carriers like yours?
This is a very valid point, and it remains. It's not a secret. Again, this is public information that Ghana Accra Airport is amongst the most expensive in the world. Your cabinet is aware, your government is aware, your deputy minister is aware. I mean, there are reasons for it, but that's the fact. If we want to stimulate demand and tourism and business to Ghana, we'll critically have to review these airport charges. Also for our airline, but this will benefit the industry as such, and it will industry Ghana because more people will be willing to come in and more Ghanaians can be able to travel outside of Ghana.
Now, the Director General of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, Charles Kweku, is calling on civil aviation authorities within the African sub-region to adopt modern air traffic safety on the back of the rapid growth of air transport. The authority, in collaboration with the International Civil Aviation Organization, is holding a 4-day workshop on the assessment of 24-bit addresses and interrogator identification codes for secondary surveillance radar mode S. The move is intended to ensure adequate air safety. Here's more in this report. The workshop brought together players within the aviation regulation space across the African continent. Engineer Charles Kweku urged the players within the aviation industry to work together to develop and implement standards, procedures and technology that meets the objectives of safety.
The role of aviation authorities, air traffic management agencies, and industry stakeholders is clear. We must ensure reliable and secure assignment of SSR Mode S addresses and II codes. We must work together to develop and implement standards, procedures, and technologies that meet these objectives. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us remember that aviation is not just about technology and regulations. It is also about people. It is about the people and about the passengers who trust us to get them safely to their destinations. The pilots and the air traffic controllers who navigate our skies. The engineers who ensure availability of our equipment, and the countless professionals who ensure that aviation remains the safest mode of transportation.
Joyce Asante, Director of Air Traffic Safety Engineering at the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, said it is necessary for all civil aviation authorities to embrace modern technology within the air transport space to ensure safety at all times.
Traditionally, conventional radars have been useful in providing very important information to our air traffic management systems. Radars typically provide vital information about aircrafts, such as their identity, the altitude at which they are flying, their speeds, bearings, as well as other relevant information. This information provides what we typically refer to as situational awareness to the air traffic controller when separating aircraft. It is important for us to state that modern advancements have brought about secondary surveillance radar mode S, which provides improvements over the conventional radars. The introduction of mode S surveillance radars and the advent of assignment of 24-bit addresses and interrogator identification codes has become very relevant in ensuring seamless deployment of mode S radars in Africa.
The discussion and collaboration at the workshop is expected to lead to the implementation of the secondary surveillance radar mode S. Now, South Africa business owners have expressed interest in contributing to Ghana's housing and construction sector as a result of the role both countries play in promoting intra-African trade. This is according to the Minister for Housing and Settlement for South Africa, Moloko Kubayi. She spoke to Joy Business after signing a memorandum of understanding with the Minister for Works and Housing, Francis Asenso-Boakye, as part of her state visit to Ghana.
Visit by the South African Minister for Housing and Human Settlements and private sector players in the housing sector is expected to provide mutual grounds for further investment areas and innovative ways to support each other. Ghana will use the opportunity to open up its housing and construction sector to South African investors and vice versa. According to the South African Minister, Moloko Kubayi, Ghana plays a critical role in the continent, hence the move to collaborate.
What can we do in terms of property development, ensuring that we broaden the work in terms of construction, obviously the B2B, how do we exchange the experiences and the companies, because it's not only about South African companies finding opportunities in Ghana, but also Ghanaian companies finding opportunities in South Africa. So learning through that, I would understand the strength of Ghanaian companies that we could be able to utilize. Also in terms of financing, as you say, we do have quite also the FDIs that we have at home. Are they able to come and invest in Ghana? The President has been driving investment drive together with the Cabinet and the Minister here. So we are here to also see how best can we contribute in terms of ensuring that the investment drives becomes a success.
Ghana's Minister for Works and Housing, Asenso-Boakye, applauded the housing initiatives of South Africa and hinted of plans to emulate similar policies to make the country's housing sector attractive.
In fact, during the reign of President Mandela, in 5 years, 1 million houses were constructed. That's unprecedented in the history of housing in Africa. We take a lot of inspiration from South Africa in the area of institutional development. You will recall that since I assumed office, I have been promoting the establishment of a national housing authority. As we speak, there's no housing authority that is in charge of the planning and the management of housing, affordable housing development in our country. South Africa is the country that we take inspiration from. This and many others that we will be discussing and we will be learning from each other during this engagement.
After signing an MOU, the two parties went into a closed-door session to discuss issues of slum upgrading and the improvement of informal settlements.
Moving on, the South African High Commissioner to Ghana, Grace Mason, is urging businesses to take advantage of the 90-day visa-free agreement between Ghana and South Africa to partner South African businesses. According to her, for Africa to achieve the goal of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, facilitating the free movement of not just goods, but people is critical. She was speaking at Ghana-South African Business Forum.
The Ghana-South Africa Business Forum was led by the official Tourism, Trade and Investment Promotion Agency for Cape Town, Westgrow. The summit focused on helping businesses in both countries to access investment opportunities to grow their entities. According to South Africa's High Commissioner to Ghana, Grace Janet Minson, facilitating the free movement of people of the two countries could help boost trade activities.
Getting the partnerships together, creating the opportunities, and hence when I announced the free visa for up to 90 days a year, not because of the pressure that we get at the High Commission, but because of the opportunities and what it actually means. If we want to move our goods, we move our people as well. And this has been significant for both our relations, South Africa and Ghana. South Africa and Ghana has long-standing relations between our presidents, between our two nations bilaterally. As I've said this morning during the GIPC opening address at the Ghana Investment Week, at the advent of South Africa's democracy, Ghana was the first diplomatic mission that was open. We know the relationship between Mandela and Ghana, and that relationship has transcended over 29 years. Next year we'll be celebrating 30 years of our democracy. And as we do that, every time Michael comes with a delegation, I see new people, because it's new people in the industry. It's not the same people. It means there's something that we are doing right. We are now able to get businesses, we are able to share experiences, and this is what it ideally means, that we take from the Ghanaians, as well as we also as South Africans learn, because this is precisely what it means.
Head of Africa at Westgrow, Michael Gamwo, added that the partnership between the two countries is needed to drive economic growth.
And the importance of this event is to make sure that Ghanaians and South Africans sit together and look at ways to partner so that South Africans can increase their business in Ghana. And also we tell Ghanaians there are also opportunities, for you to come and do business in South Africa. So it's in the spirit of intra-African trade. We need to implement all the good principles, all the good talks about intra-African trade. And the best way to do is to bring business people together so that they can understand each other and see how they can collaborate to create business.
Businesses were urged to pursue mutually beneficial partnerships to access support from other parts of the continent.
Now, energy sector players have expressed doubts about the success of the energy transition plan, citing financing as a major impediment likely to stifle its implementation by 2060. The plan is estimated to cost the country about $550 billion for the transition. They argue, looking at the current economic condition, it will be difficult for Ghana to achieve that. Hence, that might retard its execution by 2060. These were some of the concerns raised at the Future Energy Conference in Accra. My colleague Pius Kojobaka has the rest of the story.
Government last month launched the country's new energy transition and investment plan. The plan is the main tool to engage the international community and investors with Ghana's energy transition. By implementing this plan, Ghana and its partners can instead bring the country's energy sector-related carbon emissions to net zero, while demonstrating that action against climate change does not need to come at the expense of economic development. To this end, players in the energy sector are deliberating on how to ensure reliable, sustainable, and affordable energy for their respective economies. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of the Future of Energy Conference, petroleum economist Dr. Thuy Champon warned financing will be a major challenge to Ghana's energy transition plan.
I think we're going to struggle definitely when it comes to the financing, and some of the numbers that we've seen currently shows that for the 250 billion a year that you need between now and 2030, what has been coming is actually around 11-15% of that, and nothing shows as yet that is going to change.
Oxford Martin Fellow at the University of Oxford in London, Dr. Ted Moya Mose said there must be the deliberate commitment from political leaders to help transition.
Within a short to medium term, it heavily depends on what law, policy and regulatory measures are going to be put in place. If we use a business as usual strategy, I think not much is going to change, because more than 80% of the global energy mix is fossil fuel based. If we're talking about a transition to more sustainable systems, then we need extremely ambitious and extremely rapid interventions.
Energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleimana believes innovation and creativity are key in achieving the energy transition and investment plan.
We are talking about energy affordability, energy dependability, and energy availability or accessibility. If renewable energy or green energy, what we talk, can have access to this particular paradigm, then I believe we can have what we call a just energy transition.
On his part, Director Renewable Energy at Bui Power Authority, Wisdom Ahiataku Togobo, said Ghana can learn from countries that have been able to transition.
We need to learn from countries that have walked through the steps. The good news is that energy is dynamic, and we have seen countries that have gone through the same problems that we have gone through, and the solutions they have developed. So this is not a time for us to start new things. So that's why I raised the issue of Malaysia. Ghana started with Malaysia. At that time, we even had more energy than them. But today, Malaysia's energy capacity is about 10 times that of Ghana.
The two-day Future of Energy Conference is under the theme Resource Abundance, Sustainable Choices and Innovation Shaping Africa's Energy Landscape.
We turn our attentions to agriculture now, and cocoa farmers have been advised to desist from the use of weedicides and unapproved agrochemicals which contaminate cocoa beans and render them unwholesome for human consumption. Chief Executive Officer of Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahin Edu, who was in the Bono Ahafo Enclave on a 3-day tour of the Cocoa Health and Extension Zone, said these weedicides contain a dangerous residue called 24D, which could trigger the rejection of Ghana's cocoa beans on the international market. Correspondent Anas Sabet has more in the following report.
The visit by the Chief Executive Officer of the Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahin Edu, to the Techiman area forms part of his 3-day tour of the Bono Ahafo Cocoa Health and Extension Zone to interact with farmers as well as inspect ongoing productivity enhancement programs. The CEO, who was accompanied by key management and technical team of the Cocoa Board, disclosed to Joy News that the main purpose of the visit is to help boost the productivity of farmers, which would in turn better their lives as farmers.
This year it has rained, but then the flowers are not coming. So we want to come and then, interact with them and also educate the farmers as to what to do. They can recover. What we are looking for is that the farmers should be able to increase productivity from the current 3 to 6 bags. We expect them to do 20 bags per acre. And you can see that, after the message, many of these farmers are showing that, confidence that they will be able to do it.
He was, however, quick to admonish cocoa farmers to desist from using weedicides, which, according to him, causes havoc to the soil as well as affect the quality of Ghana's cocoa beans when used excessively.
In effect, the weedicide destroy the soil and hinder decomposition. So you realize that most of the farms are being destroyed, the soils are being destroyed just because of the use of weedicide. And then the weedicide had 2,4-D. 2,4-D is a chemical which shouldn't appear in any cocoa bean. But when they use weedicide, the cocoa tree is so sensitive that it's able to absorb some of these chemicals, like the 2,4-D. And we have sent cocoa to Japan, which have been rejected in the past, all because of 2,4-D. And it's the weedicide which causes the 2,4-D. That's why we don't want to see any cocoa farm with weedicide.
To the hundreds of farmers who were here to grace the occasion, the meeting with the CEO is a morale booster, and the recent hike in the price of cocoa would go a long way to attract more farmers into cocoa instead of cashew. Nana also Brimpon is a cocoa farmer here in the Techiman area.
You see, the price is the determining factor. If it so happens that the cashew price goes higher, far higher than cocoa, definitely definitely people will shift. They will shift to cashew. But now that cocoa is about 1,308 cedis per bag, and cashew is about 400 cedis, sometimes 300 cedis. You know, the attention is rather going to go on cocoa. The price is the determining factor.
Nana also Brimpom appealed to Cocoa Board to introduce cocoa irrigation to the Bono East Enclave to help boost cocoa production across the area.
They have to bring down the cocoa irrigation to this area because our land is good, the climate is not very good, but if they can help the farmers to irrigate, or if they can establish irrigation for the farmers, production will go up.
President of the Techiman Women Cocoa Farmers Association, Elizabeth Ajiwa, wants government to supply enough spraying machines to help deal with the challenge farmers go through during spraying seasons.
Our problems is mostly about the spray machine. We need more. We need government to bring us more spray machines and at the same time to employ the sprayers. That also can help us.
The Chief Executive Officer also visited some cocoa farms in the Techiman area to have first-hand information on the performance of farmers, particularly those implementing advanced pollination systems. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
Accra Brewery Limited has launched the Club Lager Cheers to Charlie's, a first of its kind for the company. The initiative, according to the company, is to give back to the community that has made Club Lager a household name. According to brands manager Manuela Odamite, the company is poised to deepen its relationship with its customers. She spoke to Joy Business at the launch at the Mode in North Kaneshie here in Accra.
We can all attest to the challenges that we've been facing as Ghanaians, but then one thing that keeps us going is the support system of our friends and our Charlies. And so we launched this campaign to celebrate that support system and to give our friends and our Charlies the opportunity to help their families and their friends by winning 10,000 Ghana cedis for them. And so the whole overview of this initiative is to celebrate friendship and also give an opportunity to support that unwavering relationships and connections that we have with our friends and family.
And that's how we end business tonight. For more business news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I am Beverly Bro. I leave you with news making headlines on the international.